Good evening and welcome here for California for round 3 on the schedule. As we get set and ready to set the field. Cars are rolling out. Drivers are going to be attempting to make this race top 18 in each session, get in on speed. And then the rest will be set by provisionals. And they'll all be shooting for the top of the board in each session. And whoever is the fastest in whichever session gets the pole. We were supposed to go to Las Vegas. It was scheduled to go to Las Vegas, but after some problems, we're here at California on the West Coast swing. So it ought to be an exciting one. DJ Curtis, in the 19, the defending champion, he struggled here last time we were here back in the fall for California. So it's going to be interesting to see if that team can get that car fixed and better. Hayden Klein finished 3rd in the Daytona 500. What a feel-good story that was. However, he is down to 13th in the standings, which is really good, actually, for this little startup team that Klein has made. But he has had to use a past champions provisional to get in the first 2 races. He's hoping he doesn't have to use a third one for his startup team for the 9 car. However, still high in the owner points, hoping he can keep it up there so he could use owner points to get in the field. Top 25 has been noted that in the top 25 in owner points, if they have to use a provisional, they don't get charged for using a provisional. Everyone outside the top 25 gets charged for using a provisional, and that means everyone outside the top 25 in owner points that's using provisionals will eventually run out of them if they keep having to use up their provisionals. There's a provisional time and charts sheet on the site if you guys want to go look at it and see how your car ranks. This is a big 2-mile speedway. It's going to be a long race come Sunday. So these guys are going to be worried about endurance. And they'll carry some big speeds around this track. I think they're going to go up to about 200 miles an hour, entering turn 1 and 3. So, and then they dropped tremendously through into the corners because there's hardly, there's banking, but there's just not a whole lot there. And also the tire wear falls off here, but not as bad as it was at Rockingham. Should be an exciting one. The defending champion get ready to lay a lap down. Charlie Smith in the 46. He's done a good job in the first 2 races to make it in on speed. He's hoping to do that for a 3rd race in a row. Come next weekend at Atlanta, it'll be our 4th race of the season, and it'll be also the last race that we use last year's owner points to set the field, and that's what Charlie Smith and a lot of these other teams are hoping to get to. They want to use this year's owner points because new teams like Smith's has 0 owner points from last year, and they're forced to qualify their way in, and if they're not top 18, they're sent to the house. So Charlie Smith is one of those guys that's got to get in, got to qualify in. Top 18 get in, and right now Smith isn't, but coming back to the line, he should improve on his time. Smith has been around for a while. He's hoping to do great things for Jeff James Incorporated. It's been a slow start for Jeff James Incorporated, but they're hoping to get their feet underneath them and try and go to victory lane this season. However, it has been a very struggling start for this company. DJ Curtis, 6th overall right now. As the times tick away, we're halfway through the session already. Jake Bassinger leads everyone on the grid. Then it's Jesse Turner, Nick May, Dylan Young, Jeffrey Lynn. As times keep swapping as Matthew Rodriguez jumps to the top. Dejon Week 6, Josh Crash 7th, and DJ Curtis just jumped up. But the times keep swapping back and forth. Sean Harple in 15th, Josh Crash in the Home Depot colors for the first time this season. He's in 8th. And then Dejon Week 7th, like we said. Rodriguez currently the fastest by 2 1/1000ths of a second on Jake Bassinger. Stephen Pollard III has failed to make the first 2 races. He's hoping to qualify in. He picks up, and it's good up to 18th. That's exactly where he needs to be, but he cannot be bumped out. And one more guy to bump him out would be enough. Caleb Hoffman's good. Garrett Sidner is not. He's going to need to pick up. Kyle Collins is good in 13th. However, Hannah Allen attempting to make her first ever Sony Cup Series start, needing to find some speed. And that CM Racing Chevy That team has not made any races so far this season. They made nearly all the races last year with Chris Dodd. However, struggling so far to make these races. However, Allen, following another relative to hers, Andreas Allen. Allen's down to 18th. So Allen's pretty low in owner points. I'm not sure if he would get in on a provisional or not. He possibly could. But still, at the top of the board is Matthew Rodriguez, Jake Bassinger, Nick Mace, Jesse Toner, and Dejon Weeks. We're going to look down here at the guys needing to bump their way in. That is Stephen Pollard III, Jeffrey Finguy. Finguy outside of it could use a provisional for the second weekend in a row. Garrett Sidner, 21st. Luis Hernandez needing to find speed. That team has failed to qualify for every race so far. Now, that's been a shock. His teammate Dylan Schwellenberg has made the races. Hannah Allen looking like she'll need to pick it up. Hayden Klein in the 9 may have to use a past champions provisional to get in this field again. Milton Campbell, 25th, and Johnny Gardner, the only driver that's not able to get in the 38 seconds so far. Jesse Toner, 5th, like we said. Here comes Finguy, really with no drafting help. Needing to pick up, needing to find a 38.53. Can't do it. There's many drivers out there like Campbell trying to find something. I'm going to look here. Is there anybody in a pack that we could watch? Maybe Hayden Klein, if he gets in behind Chris Dodd. Dodd's 12th overall. He did not find that much speed at Rockingham. He struggled. He was about in the 30s all race long. And that was a surprise for Christopher and Martin Motorsports. However, we're going to see what Hayden Klein can run while he's in a draft run. Luis Hernandez is one that's out there needing to pick up speed, or he'll be sent to the house. Ooh, someone hit the wall, and that was Stephen Pollard III. Got up against the wall, scrubbed off some speed. Garrett Sidner trying to pick up time. Can't do it. Hernandez can't pick it up either. So we look further back. Hayden Klein trying to bump his way in so he doesn't have to use a past champions provisional. Season 4 champion trying to bump in. Chris Dodd trying to get in on speed. Klein can't do it. Mace down to 5th. Brock in 7th. Dylan Young, the winner here last time out. He's in 8th. Casey Lester, 11th. Campbell looks like she's going to miss the field. Finn guy's going to have to use provisional to get in again. If he doesn't pick up, that is. Jesse Toner, 6th. But times really aren't changing. All the laps that got laid down early in the run, that is what everyone is basically going to run here. As they keep running down laps on their tires, it's just going to be so hard to lay down a good lap. And any driver that's going to pick up would need to leave pit road about now to go out there and run a lap, and I don't see it happening. So I think all the times are going to stay about the same unless something magical happens at the end. Jake Bassinger needing to find 2 1,000ths, but he's already about 5/10ths off of his fastest lap. And PJ Williams trying to get back out there, but it's just not going to be enough time for him. DJ Curtis is one that's just off of his lap. All these guys are basically running like almost race trim runs now as they're trying to get as much laps as they can because these teams are limited on practice sessions that they can go out and run. So a bunch of them just go out there and try and run as hard as they can and get a lap down that will be comfortably in. Some of them shoot for the pole, but some just obviously don't even shoot for it. And I think Sean Harple is one that is more on a race run than anything because this Athenian bunch has seemed to find some speed, but here at California, they're just not as quick, it seems. 17th overall, he'll be in on speed. Charlie Smith, he bumped his way in, I think. Somebody did. No, Luis Hernandez did. That was Luis Hernandez that bumped his way in. And Hernandez bumps his way in. He's in 16th. Well then, Andreas Allen just got bumped. So we look here at the line. Allen needs to pick up. And he's out there now. I think they're going to allow times to keep rolling. No, they're not. I think that is it. We're going to check and see if they're letting up times run out. They are not. That is it for qualifying for Session 1. Luis Hernandez clutches it in the last few seconds and gets it in the field. the drivers on the outside looking in, needing to use a provisional or will be sent home. Man, the time to beat is Matthew Rodriguez with a 37.901, just 2/1000ths of a second faster than Jake Bassinger. Then in third place is Dejon Weeks, DJ Curtis in fourth, Nick Mace fifth, Dylan Young sixth, Jesse Tunner seventh, William Brock eighth, Josh Crash ninth, and Jeffrey Lynn in 10th. Casey Lester gets it in the field at 11th, Chris Dodd back in 12th, PJ Williams 13th, Kyle Collins 14th, 15th for Caleb Hoffman, 16th for Luis Hernandez. He'll make his first start of the season, and he'll make his first ever Sony Cup Series start come California. And Sean Harple gets it in the field 17th, and Charlie Smith, for the third race in a row, gets the Jeff James Incorporated 46 car in the field, and only by 0.04 of a second over Allen. He gets the last spot on speed. Andreas Allen is going to have to wait and see if he can use a provisional. He'll probably more than likely be able to use one. Stephen Pollard III will more than likely be sent to the house for the third race in a row. Jeffrey Finguy will use a provisional. Garrett Sidner Garrett Sidner is going to be sent to the house, because that team actually has no owner points. So Garrett Sidner, the rookie, will be sent home. That is big news right there for Garrett Sidner, because that 96 has no owner points, and he'll be sent to the house. Hayden Klein in the 9 will either use a past champions provisional or he'll be sent home. Eric Burton will be the deciding factor. Burton and even Sean Perkins in the next session, we're going to see how they run in comparison, if they can make the top 18. Hannah Allen, that team might be all right in points. We're going to have to wait and see, but that team might be sent to the house for the third race in a row. Campbell and Gardner will be sent home. Session 2 is underway, so the time to beat is a 37.901 by Matthew Rodriguez. That is the time that everyone will be shooting for the pole. And a lot of drivers will be shooting for something else as a spot in the race. The top 18 make it in. Everyone starts to roll off. We saw in Session 1, tires mean a lot here at this racetrack. Tire fall off is big. Not as big as we said at like Rockingham, but the lap you run down early in the race, early in the session, is probably going to be your fastest lap and probably going to be the lap that really counts the most. Dom Capps has a chance to do something nobody has ever done. That is win the first 3 races in a row. No one's ever done that. No one's ever won the Daytona 500, Round 2 and Round 3. Only Jackson Braun and Charles Sanford have ever won the 500 and went on to win Round 2. Capps joined those groups right there of drivers to accomplish that. And he's going to go out there and try and win 3 in a row. And speaking of 3 in a row, that's hard to do anyway. Not even considering the start of the race or start of the season. Richard Johnson is the only driver in the history to win 3 in a row. That was in the middle of the season from Season 1 and Season 3. He did it twice. Nobody has ever reached that feat before. And Capps gonna try and tie Richard Johnson's record for this weekend and try and make his own, winning the first 3 races. That'd be something else for sure. As we look at the timesheets, Capps is already the quickest one. That team has it figured out. Something with that Martin Motorsports 6 crew. They are just fast every week. So they're going to be ones to compete with for the start of the season, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be championship contenders for this season because they were so close last year. 6 times runner-up for the seasons. 6 times runner-up for the races. And Capps busting out the gate, 2 wins in a row. No one else has won a race this season but Capps. He's trying to win as much as he can. 37.92. That is a good lap. However, that is not faster than his teammates. Matthew Rodriguez up in front of him. Jordan Fisher 13th. Everyone's trying to lay down the lap. It's still a little early. This is a big track, so it takes a while to get around here. Ryan Acosta in 12th. Fitzwater in 8th. Carson Scott 9th. Dylan Schwellenberg, his teammate, got it in the field in a clutch scenario in the last few minutes. Schwellenberg trying to make the field. He picks up there all the way up to 12th, so Schwellenberg might be good enough to get in on speed. James Fox in 7th. That team is 2nd in the point standings, and he is only running a part-time schedule. So that's a very big accomplishment. But a driver I just see that's jumped up the top, not to the top, but jumped up a bit, is the 52 of Jeff James. Give a call to this team. They've had a really slow start. Jeff James missed the Daytona 500. He made Rockingham, only got 17th in his session. And Jeff James struggled in the race. He's low in the point standings. And Jeff James, usually a dominating driver each season, fighting for championships and winning races. However, starting up his own team has seemed to be a real big struggle for him. And up atop the board, Dom Capps runs a 37.808. And that means Dom Capps will win the pole if no one else beats him. However, if someone else beats him, they'll be on the pole. So we already know whoever gets the top of the board for this session, they'll be on the front row and they'll be on the pole. So Capps is, man, he's like 2/10 faster than Cody Lamas. And Lamas is in 2nd. Well, time is ticking away. We're going to look at some guys struggling to make the field and who will be relying on a provisional. Right now, it is only a difference of 100th of a second. Steven Jenkins holds the final spot. So, man, Dylan Schwellenberg 15th, looking good. Scott in 4th. But Jenkins in the 1 car, 18th right now, trying to pick up. He does. However, not good enough to get ahead of Pierre-Clese, who's in 17th. So he's still on the bubble. And the drivers right now on the outside looking in. Levi Pasco in the 55 Athenian Chevy. Charles Sanford in the Mace Enterprises Chevy. That is a big surprise for me. TJ Martin trying to make his first ever Sony Cup Series race. He failed to qualify at Rockingham. And someone just bumped their way in. So a lot of drivers are bumping their way in. I'd have to look and see. I can't. Actually, I believe it was the 55 of Levi Pasco and Bobby Jones. I believe those drivers were the ones that just bumped their way in. Right now, Sanford, right now 19th. Pierre-Clese 20th. Jenkins is now 21st. TJ Martin 22nd. John Bunnell 23rd. Cole Deaver 24th. And Doug Lockrow 25th. Gonna have to see here for Charles Sanford. Less than 3 minutes on the clock. Does not pick up. 0.02 of a second separates Schwellenberg and Sanford. Schwellenberg and Davidson, 17th and 18th. They need to qualify their way in or they'll be sent home. Pierre-Clese can use a provisional. So can Sanford and Jenkins. So a lot of drivers higher in the owner points that are really going to hurt drivers like TJ Martin and Andreas Allen in the first session. Needing to fall back on a provisional. Davis is in 6th. Pasco jumped up late in that session. He knew he was getting... He just got bumped outside of it. The Athenian team was really focusing on like a race run for this qualifying session, and they were just going to let it line up like they lined up. And he decided to go out there and run a good lap. And somebody just bumped their way in. Let me try and find who that was. It was Steven Jenkins. Jenkins bumped his way in, knocked Schwellenberg outside of the top 18. Sean Perkins, who's usually really good at California, 17th. And this is a big-name driver as well because he's low in the owner points, and if he gets bumped out, Hayden Klein will be sent to the house, and Perkins will use a past champions provisional. Eric DeMax, 15th. Davidson using the last spot to get in. He's only 9/1000ths of a second in the field. Schwellenberg just barely outside of it, needing to find a way in. Can't bump his way in. Somebody just bumped their way in, though. I'm looking for that driver. TJ Martin in the 34 finds a way in, and he's going to race on Sunday in his first Sony Cup Series start. 9th overall right now. Perkins is the last guy to get in by 1/1000th of a second. The last driver to get in so far. Less than a minute to go. Pericles trying to find his way in. Lockrow can't do it. Pericles to the line. Can't do it either. Schwellenberg, not going to happen. Schwellenberg looks like he's going to miss his first race of the season. Man, 1/1000th of a second looks like it's going to be the difference. Davidson, he's bringing it in, and that's going to be his hopes done of making this race. Sanford, a fast Mace Enterprises Chevy who's actually, I think he's more focused on a race run, and he's going to rely on a provisional. I'm not so sure how that team is so slow out there other than that. And Pericles, one of the last guys to try and bump his way in, can't do it. And Schwellenberg, did he bump his way in? He did not. And I believe that is it for the session. I'm going to look here and see if they count DeMax's lap. They're still counting them. And, oh, John Bunnell I thought may have picked up, but he didn't. Sanford come to the line. Will he be able to pick up? He does not. Everyone's still trying to bump their way in. Still surprised Jenkins is as low on the timesheets as he is. Lockrow picks up, but it's not enough. Pericles bumps his way in. Pericles in the field with 5 seconds on the clock. Pericles makes the field, and I'm pretty sure Hayden Klein's going to be sent to the house for that, because Perkins is going to have to use a past champions provisional. I'm almost guaranteed sure Perkins may be able to use owner points provisionals to get that 78 in the field. If not, Perkins is going to rely on a past champions provisional. What a job by Pericles to get that car in the show. As we said early in the run, your lap times at the beginning were probably going to be the ones that counted the most, and it was for Don Capps. He is your Sony Pole Award winner, third different Sony Pole Award driver, and Capps on the pole is going to be shooting for the win and for the third race win in a row. No one's ever done that before to start the season. Richard Johnson's the only one to win 3 in a row in the middle part of the season, and that would be a record to tie Johnson, the king, and Capps to make his own record if he could do it this weekend. Cody Lamas was a whole 2/10 off of him. He'll start 4th. He finished 2nd in the session. Ryan Griffin in 3rd. Carson Scott 4th. James Swordfox in 5th. Jordan Davis won this race last year. He'll start 6th. Eric Burton 7th. Jeff James in 8th. TJ Martin will be making his first Sony Cup Series start, and he'll start it back in the 18th position. Good run for TJ Martin, getting that 34 in the field. And Nick Pericles in 5 seconds left on the clock before they stopped counting the times. Pericles gets that car in on speed, and Levi Pasco in 11th. Zachary Fitzwater back in 12th. Bobby Jones in 13th. Ryan Acosta 14th. Bradley Bishop Jr. 15th. Jordan Fisher in 16th. Eric DeMax qualifies his way in this time. He's 17th. 18th, and the last guy to get in on speed is Steven Jenkins. Sean Perkins in the 78. It is unsure whether he'll use a provisional or a past champions provisional to get in the field, but he will race come Sunday. Surprised that he did not run better than what he did in qualifying. Zayden Davidson will be sent to the house. Schwellenberg will be sent to the house. Charles Sanford will use a provisional. John Bunnell will be sent home. Cole Deaver will be sent home. And so will Doug Lockrow. So with that, Don Capps is the Sony Pole Award winner. And he'll lead the field down come Sunday. And here is your starting lineup for California.